Hello Bulldozer Power fans, I'm Colonel Failure and you're back with Motorsport Manager, and we're just reviewing the results from the last race where Vanessa Silveira managed to finish a very credible 6th place overall, while Nicholas Hazel, running a slightly less effective strategy, could only manage 19th. Not his fault this time. I stress this time because there's plenty of times where it is his fault, but that's okay, it's all good. The team's in relatively good shape, but the money is less so as we go down inside the 2 million remaining. Anyway, here's the results from the last weekend, and the World Motorsport Championship reports back from Singapore after its 13th round, with Sanjay Modi, a name we don't hear very often, in first place, ahead of Avalos and Mostly Sane in second and third. This keeps Fishburne Johnson both top of the table still. Johnson managed to get 4th. Fishburne could only manage 7th overall. So the gap between the two is now only 10 points. So if Johnson were to win and Fishburne failed to score any points in the next race, they would be tied. Either way, Scuderia are going to be relatively happy with that because they do have that season entirely locked up. In the Asia Pacific Super Cup, it's Frida Fischer who finishes in first place in Vancouver, ahead of Craig Smith and Wattboy. Wattboy, again, is not someone we hear of very often, but that 4 points gets him onto the table there in 13th overall. But it's Chinar who's still out in front on 48 points, but only by 1 point now, as Hawk is just slightly behind. The win for Fischer pulls her up into 3rd place, potentially in contention for the championship. And Rosetto Corsa are certainly looking to be the team on the move in the late part of the season. But a Spirit GP still rule the roost right now. And then, of course, the only race season that matters, it's the European Racing Series, and it's Hans 00 again, coming away in first place, ahead of Kotso Masilella and Nicholas Wolfrath. These are the names that we've been seeing all season long. Masilella there is in 5th place overall. Wolfrath is actually only in 15th, even behind Nicholas Hazel, because as much as Wolfrath is often at the head of the pack at some point in the race, they have had exceptional difficulties in terms of reliability. Anyway, Silveira's now in 8th place overall, tied with Playmoto, who is in 9th, and Hazel's in 12th. This is not bad. This is pretty much exactly mid-table for the team. And as we look at the team standings there, we are 1 point behind Octane Racing, and that's got to be our challenge as we head into the closing part of the season. So here we are in the inbox, and we've got the car condition update from Gary Watson. As ever, Hazel's car hasn't dropped very much. Vanessa's dropped by a little bit more than that, and that's fine. We'll get those fixed up. Rachel Noy, meanwhile, is asking for an interview, and we always do interviews. Garuda Racing's Puppet had a bit of disaster in that race, finishing down in 8th. What's your analysis? Doesn't surprise me. Looking at Garuda Racing from the outside, their team looks weak. Well, yeah, I think we dropped the smack here. Yeah, you see, we've hurt their marketability. Beautiful. That was exactly the right result. Stuff you, Garuda Racing, and all who sail in you. Meanwhile, Gary's talking about the pit crew. We had 5 pit stops in total, which is one more than we really would have wanted to do. And we had 1 mistake, and it was flipping Long Johns again. He's one of the better pit crew members that we've got, but for some reason he is also somewhat accident prone. Anyway, Simon Higgins for the XBC Sport. Garuda Racing's Hans 00 walked away with the top prize in Milan after an incident-packed race. Kotso Masilella, who was 10 seconds off the pace, and Nicholas Wolfrath rounded out a podium. Winning Garuda Racing boss Torsten Tretter collected the team trophy and looked delighted as he downed the champagne. Sophia has finished her latest scouting endeavours with Dinora Janofri. Hello, Dinora. Well, you don't want to overtake anybody at any point ever. Although you are feeling blue at the moment. Sonny Morale, and you're a Vancouver expert. That's about all you're expert in. I'm not surprised you're unemployed. Sorry about that. Harsh, but I think fair. Right, let's put in the next scout opportunity here, and it's going to be Felipe Nunez. Although, is it? No. Let's have a look at Finger Puppet, since they're in my my division. We'll have a look, see what we get there. Right, heading over to the pit crew. You can see that that Long John's here is he's in all kinds of fatigue. He is not a fit individual right now, and as luck would have it, we could probably swap him out for Madonna here. Let's do that. Swap that one around. Now we've got Crumpton, he's not brilliant, but he's better than awful. Who I'll probably swap for Becerra at some point, or we put him in now in place of Shaughnessy. Might be the smoother move, although there's really not a lot in it as far as their stamina is concerned. I can't see how they get so worn out so quickly, but there it is. Then you've got Onyia Dinma, who's actually looking relatively sprightly compared to some of the other people we've got in the team. The question is, do we want to sub him in? And one of these 30s might be an idea to replace him. Yeah, let's swap him for Becerra, like so. All right, let's hope that makes an impact as we head up to the next race in the Black Sea. There we go. The car has been fixed up just nicely, so we'll now have a look here and get working on some improvements. Right, we're currently manhandling our new engine and some suspension. Now the thing with this is this isn't going to be ready until 46 days after the race. That's not going to cut it. We need that engine pronto. Getting the reliability up on the suspension is a lesser concern, so we could quite easily tweak this way somewhat. Yeah, let's do that for now. 13 days after the race. I don't need to improve the suspension. That's the thing. The suspension is just fine. 82% is more than I would normally, require to get the job done. But it's going to be beneficial to make sure that it really is in tippity top shape, so that we can shave some weight off it and potentially gain some performance when we're in a race situation. Right, it's politics time, and we're talking about a refueling ban. Interesting. Let's go and have a look here. So, cars cannot refuel during the race, and this makes things 20,000 cheaper per race when compared with a championship that allows refueling. Will not benefit teams with high budgets. Apparently, I've got a high budget, bizarrely. Now, I'm going to vote against. For the very simple reason that it keeps it interesting. I might have, early in this season, I may have endeavoured to try and do a zero-stop strategy or a one-stop strategy, but it really does keep things interesting to have to refuel during the race. So we're going to go that way, and I'm throwing all of my voting power behind it. Voting for no change. There it is. So, 4 votes from me. I think this one's in the bag. Yep, this one's in the bag. Yep, I don't care what you say, it's not happening. All the votes against. Everybody's against it. No, it's a terrible idea. And the vote has been rejectaminated. So, that's all there is to that. No fueling ban. Not going to happen. We'll stick with things as they are now. So lots of action in the old inbox here. What do we got? Kurt is saying that we're in 6th, and this is currently better than our original target of 9th. I know that, Kurt, but it's glad. I'm very, very pleased that you figured that out too. Anna's reporting on the upcoming race. It's a 29 lapper, and the lap length is around 3 miles, and the records are 125. So then there's likely to be some rain. with a 40% chance. So hopefully we won't hose it this time round. We will endeavour not to make quite such a mess of our strategy for both drivers. Meanwhile, Carlota Martez is reporting from JTV Sport. We've had a word with a well-placed source that Numi Sapala of Otsu Motor Team is seriously considering retiring at the end of the season. I'd be amazed if she didn't retire at some point this season, said a close friend of the 35-year-old. This will leave Otsu Motor Team boss Connor Black searching for a new driver to fill the seat next season, a search which may well have already begun. Whew, pretty thrilling stuff there. Gary's back. He goes, you know what? You've built everything else that I've been asking for, so how about you do us a forecasting centre? And that will transform our experience while we're away at race weekends. It'll give the drivers a plush motorhome to hang out in, for one thing. Why would I wish to do that? Speaking more practically, but also allows greater insight into upcoming weather conditions. Yes, it would be useful, but I do not have the readies there, Gaz. Can't happen. Not got the money. Meanwhile, a new scouting report's been completed, and it's Alina Soininen. Let's have a look and see what Alina is like. So-so. I'm liking the smoothness, though. That's good. Overtaking and consistency are kind of poor. Cornering's kind of poor. You know, all those things that drivers are supposed to be good at. She's a pay driver. The sponsors will pay you 300 grand a race for they're involved in. Oh, hello. Interesting. Who are you driving for at the moment? You're at Magyar Engineering. Well, never mind. Fairly optimistic and has a rival with the other team driver. This doesn't affect me. I don't think we're going to be able to land her anyway. But certainly pay drivers always interest me. Right, who else have we got up that we haven't seen yet? Who is a regular feature in our league? It's Hans 00. Look, let's get him scouted. I would be fascinated to see what kind of stats he's got that is enabling him to be quite the dominant force in the European Racing Championship that he has been of late. Now, before we press on, I want to have a quick check on the car because a few days have passed. Where are we? Right, this suspension is now 207. Is this a primary piece of kit that we're working on here? Yes, it is a primary piece of kit. It's actually, no, it's our secondary piece of kit. No, that's all right. Well, we can drop that out, and we can probably, we can drop this out as well. And risk of rule break low. Let's get rid of that as well. Let's put absolutely all of our resources into the completion of work on this engine here. Although that's not going to do me any good if the reliability is no good, then that's no help to anyone. But we're not going to run the engine anyway because it's a medium risky engine. This is my my end of season engine to carry over to next year. All we need to do is just get it ramped up so we can leave that alone actually, because it'll help us going into next season. So the World Motorsport Championship has completed the 14th round of the season in Sydney, and it's Misty Saturn who comes out on top with P. Shoot and Avalos second and third. Saturn hasn't been much of a factor driving for Panther Race Team this season with his partner Reaper 86. Her partner, beg your pardon. But this is a fine result at the tail end of the season. Shoot, finishing in second, has done nothing for Shoot's aspirations towards the top of the table, while Fishburne has pulled an additional 3-point lead out over Johnson, and that surely now puts that in the bag. Scuderia will obviously run away with it. If we look at the teams overall here, Scuderia are 40 points clear. That's you can give them the trophy. They can take it home, stick it on the mantelpiece. But the Drivers' Championship, it could still go to Johnson, but I think, honestly, Fishburne has got this one. So Hank Littman with his pre-race gossip for the Black Sea. It's Hans 00 who is once again the hot favourite. Team principal Eddie Dubois, who refuses to ever shut up. It's going to take something special to stop 00. With 2 races to go until the end of the season, we are rapidly approaching crunch time. Hans 00 claims he's not feeling the pressure of being the man to catch. Doesn't bother me at all, to be honest, said the Garuda Racing man. Maiko Kitasato is hoping to pick up a few points this weekend. It'll make a huge point. It will make a huge point? No, it'll make a huge difference to my position in the standings. It's not easy being down in my position. Well, there you go. That's pretty gripping. Sophia has now finished scouting Espen Roe. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's some capabilities going on here for the Otsu driver. Only adaptability and fitness there are dropping below kind of acceptable levels. And Roe is, of course, the reigning champion for the European Racing Series, which gives quite a lot of bonus points right there, and is a fan of keeping it simple, which has affected his adaptability. We've also finished the scouting on Finger Puppet. Let's have a quick look here and see what we're dealing with. Finger's one of the older drivers in the championship. He's a bit of a resource hog, yes. Pretty content, okay, and likes racing trucks. Fair enough. Stats are all so. This is the kind of driver that would sit well within your bulldozer power, but those seats are both taken at present. So let's queue up the next couple of victims, and we'll do some of the ones that we've skipped over. We'll go Felipe Nunez and Frankie Kinney. There, we'll get them researched, and I'll fill you in on exactly what they're capable of in due course. So we're gearing up to head out to the Black Sea to chance our hand in this next race in the season, and we don't have that many races left to go. So acceleration is going to be crucial, as is the rear wing, and top speed is going to be helpful. But we've got to do first things first, which is choose the sponsor. And it's going to be Play Sport. I don't have the confidence that we're going to finish in first, so we'll take Play Sport there, which is going to see us down 800 grand at the end of the race, which will take us to 1 million remaining, which is not a lot of money. Let's rig up the cars. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to need to change anything at all. Everything is pretty much the optimum setup right now. Hazel very much the second driver. Established himself there, and that's where he's going to stay. Our new engine is coming along nicely, but has still got another 70 points worth of capability available. And then we have, the engines we've got in are fine. The gearboxes we've got in are fine, and the suspension we've got in is adequate. So there's really nothing more to play with on that front. Everything is kind of hooked up. We're tickety-boo. We're 5x5. We're locked and loaded. So we're heading out to the race now, and it's sure to be an interesting time as we head up the Black Sea.